Moonlighter is the most realistic, action-packed first-person shooter of the decade. Just kidding, it's a game where you run a shop and sell items at prices you determine. Running a shop all day with no other objectives. Except for the fact that you have to get items to be able to sell. You get these items by going through the game's 5 dungeons. But what's the point of that if you can't do anything with the money? You can buy armor and weapons. You can upgrade your shop. You can help others in town open their shops. Dungeons kicking you in the groin time and time again? Use a pen. It helps you out by grabbing items, killing enemies, or giving you extra effects, depending on which one you choose. The harder the dungeon, the rarer the materials, and the more money you can make, which you will need as upgrades are super expensive. Between the shop, bargains, register, bed, and chests, it really starts to add up. Don't even get me started on the impossibly expensive weapon upgrades. There are 5 dungeons each, with their own mechanics and enemies, which I won't tell you about because I want you to try out the game for yourself. Just know that you may die quite a few times, losing important items in the process. The 5 dungeons are, in this order, the Golem Dungeon, Forest Dungeon, Desert Dungeon, Tech Dungeon, and the Unknown Dungeon. You can choose to tackle these dungeons in a matter of ways. There are also 5 types of weapons. Swords and shields. These weapons are a good combination of DPS and defense, with their ability being to block a hit or two before your defense breaks. Big swords, or great swords as I call them, which lower your speed in exchange for extra damage. The ability here is a charged whirlwind slash that attacks in all directions. You have the spear that has a far reach with similar damage to the sword shield combo. Use it to kill across gaps or keep some distance. You can close the gap with its charge ability, even running through multiple enemies at a time. Gloves give you faster attack speed with less damage, but man can you combo. Feel like Captain Falcon as you use a move akin to a Falcon Punch towards your enemies. And then we have the staple in all adventure games, the bow. Use it to attack from long range and prevent damage to yourself. The ability here is kind of predictable with a charged shot, but hey, if it's your kind of weapon, you won't mind much. But you didn't come here just to hear me talk about the features like some sort of TV commercial, did you? The game has a top-down dungeon crawler style to it that really reminds me of The Binding of Isaac. The combat feels pretty good and lets you play your way, even if you have to dodge all the time like you're playing Dark Souls. Once you learn your enemy's attack patterns, you can wipe out almost any enemy without taking the slightest amount of damage. Potions are instantly used, so you can strong-arm bosses and enemies without a care. The game gets progressively harder, and even though you may need to grind for specific items sometimes, you'll never be bored. The story doesn't really jump at you from the beginning, but that just makes the ending so much more shocking. I would tell you about it, but then where would be the surprise? Overall, I liked the game, though the lack of story until you beat it left a sour taste in my mouth. It would have been nice to get some hints alluding to the bigger picture along the way, but the way the developers put it together works. In all, I have to give this game 4 Sword and Shield upgrades out of 5. I also recommend you try out the game for yourselves. Please think about leaving a like and subscribing, or even leaving a comment to see what you would like me to review next. It would help me out greatly. Bye!